Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to cover off an edit I did for a recent cyberpunk shoot. Maybe you saw the behind the scenes with me and Emily in the studio, and I'll post a link for that below in case you missed it. So we were using Harlow Blade 5 and 10 LED lights, and this is just one of the images that I took. So we had one of the lights behind these Venetian blinds, which I just had hanging up in the studio, and then I had another one on a light stand behind Emily. So we just had her dressed up in, she was just wearing a cloak and a black jacket, and we had these really cool sort of light up visors on her face, and we were just sort of going for this cyberpunk sort of, I felt like we were running into Blade Runner on this image. So I just thought I would do a quick run through on the edit, in particular with colouring. So I did do just a little bit of a brief fix on a few flyaway hairs and things like that. What I did was I took a copy of this photo and I did a high pass filter. So if you haven't done that before, go to filter, other, high pass, and then I set it to linear light. So on normal light you probably couldn't tell much difference, but I put it on linear light just to make it stand out. So hopefully you can see how this really does make the visor pop and give some details and some colors. But I didn't want it on everything, so I put a mask on it so it's just that area that sort of stands out. And I dropped it down to 54%. At 100% it was just a bit too strong, and you get that quite often when you are dealing with some of these other blend modes. You think, oh, it's too strong, but once you drop the opacity down, they are pretty cool. Okay, so from there I did just a little bit of a clean and tidy. I also went in with just a brush with some soft blue, and I set my blend mode to screen just to really sort of pick up the lines in the visor and make them stand out a little bit more. From here I did two color fills, and this is sort of what I wanted to have a look at today. So one is the blue. So I already had the light set to as blue as I could get it. So I had blue on one side and I had orange on the other side, but I want to enhance that and make it stand out more. So what I did was I put in a adjustment layer. So if I turn this one off, I'm going to go into here, I'm going to go into a solid color adjustment layer. I'm going to pick a blue, and then I am going to set that to color burn. So I'm going to go to the adjustment layer and I'm going to go to the gradient and put that through. And you can come into the mask with just your brush if you want to, and you can tidy it up and add more, add less, or just remember black hides it and takes it away, and white reveals it. So that's pretty much what I did on that layer. I then come and duplicated it and did basically the same thing, but I used an orange layer and I set it to screen. So if I come back here, go into adjustment layer, go to solid color, pick an orange, set that to screen. On the adjustment layer I can then come through with the gradient fill or the brush if I want, and I can play around with that until I am happy with the look that I've got. So this is what I ended up with. So I had the orange set to screen and I had the blue set to color burn. So there's a little bit of difference in the depth and the light and all the rest of it. So I was pretty happy with that. From there, I did a little bit of a curves layer. Now, I don't know if you've ever done a curves layer to add contrast and tone to your images, but it's pretty simple. I literally just clicked on a curves layer and I set it to multiply. I didn't do any changes to it, and then I dropped the opacity down. So at 100%, it's pretty dark, but I dropped it down to sort of about 50%, and I was pretty happy with that. Then what I did was another gradient fill. This time it's just from black to white. I wasn't doing anything in particular. I've got it set to soft light at 54%. I just wanted to sort of darken it up on this side a little bit. Next, what I did was a light glow. Okay, so I came in and I did, so it's sort of white to yellow to orange, gradient to nothing, and I come in off the side. So let's just add in and I did that off the edge, and I can move it around a little bit if I want to, if it was a bit much. But I had that set to hard light and I dropped it down to 34%. So I then repeated that on the other side, but I had sort of more white and blue. So if I go into that there, you can see that it's sort of white and blue into transparent. Again, still with the radial gradient. I then did a little bit more of a light fill, but then I, again with the radial gradient, but I masked it out on a lot, well, on some of the image. So I didn't want it, if I move that out of the way, I didn't sort of want it up the top here or down the bottom. I just sort of wanted to keep it through here. That's pretty much where I ended up with this image. I was quite happy with it. I did play with a couple of other different looks. So we had the blue and orange flipped. This was with the Harlow, as I said, so this was the Harlow 10 I had on blue, and this was the Harlow 5 I had on orange. As you can see, when I go back to the original image, the blue is quite a bit stronger than the orange was, and that's just because the 10 is 10 watts and the 5 is a 5 watt. But you can definitely boost it and add to that in post, and that's what I wanted to cover off in this video. So don't be afraid, even if you're playing with gels and you haven't quite got the color that you wanted, just remember you can come in and do some color toning and boost that, especially if you're playing around in Photoshop. So that's it for today's video. I will put a link below for the behind the scenes for the actual Cyberpunk shoot. So if you haven't checked that out, go and check it out. If you like this video, don't forget to check out my playlist for some of my other edit along with me, whether that's in Lightroom or in Photoshop. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time on YouTube. Bye.